are the light of the world. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. This is God's word. You may be seated. Brothers and sisters in Christ, friends, in catechism class, we've been working through, we've mentioned it one time or so in Sunday worship. What do we do with God's Word? What do you do with God's Word? And we're working through it. We probably review it every week now, and we'll probably do that for the rest of the year. It's important, isn't it? What do we do with the Word? Now remember what I already mentioned this morning already, is that the Sermon on the Mount and all the things that we'll have for the next number of weeks are not how we become Christians. Jesus is speaking to his disciples, people who believe in him, and he's not emphasizing that how we are to be saved, but rather that we are people who have been saved, so now live as saved people. So what do? How do we live as saved people? How do we live as people that God has saved? And we believe it. Well, he takes his word. We want to hear God's word. We want to learn God's word. We want to believe it. We want to believe God's word. As believers, we want to continue to believe it. It doesn't mean that we stop listening or hearing it. It doesn't mean that we stop learning it. We want to believe it, then we want to follow it, obey it. Not to earn salvation, but to live for God. We want to obey it. And then we want to, the last one, share it. Now, how do we share it? Well, that's what a lot of the Sermon on the Mount is about. It's living our lives and letting people see who we are. What's interesting is, from last Sunday, the end of the Sermon on the Mount, the Beatitudes part, all the blessed. If you recall, if you were here last Sunday, maybe you remember, all the blessed, people who have God's favor. If I have God's favor, I do in Jesus Christ. God loves me. Blessed doesn't mean just to be happy. It means to know that, Lord, I have your favor. You have saved me. I look at the cross and I have your favor. God, you saved me. Now, if I'm blessed, if I have that, now, Lord, what do I do? Lord, I have your favor. What are those qualities that I will have as a person who is blessed? And Jesus goes through all of them. Or many of them. If you remember, we have those M's and P's. We talked about those that are, for one thing, merciful. If we're merciful, God will show us mercy. Not to earn mercy from God in the sense of being saved, but God, as I live my life, I know that you will continue to be merciful to me as I show mercy to others. And you can go down that whole list. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are the mouth. We talked about that, thinking of mouth. Hunger and thirst for righteousness. God, I want to live for you. I want to do what's right. I want to obey you. Going back to those 5 things, right? I want to hear. I want to learn. I want to believe. I want to continue to obey. I want to share it. Then all the ones with the P. Talking about pure in heart. Talking about peacemakers. Talking about those who are persecuted. Listen to how the verse ends right before our text for this morning in Matthew chapter 5. Blessed are you when people insult you, there's the P, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. If nothing else happens in life, a reward of grace. Not that we've earned it, but don't worry. If we're persecuted for what we believe, we know that we'll have heaven. So now you, remember, you're blessed. Now right after Jesus said this, you heard what he said. You are the salt of the earth. You mean to tell me that as we're being persecuted, as we're being insulted, and all these other things that God wants me to do, and I want to do it as a believer, the next thing is, I also want to share it. I want to be able to do something with it. Two simple things: salt and a light. We use them, they're common for us. I'll tell you what, even if you've heard this text many times, when Jesus talks about you are the salt of the earth, or you're the light of the world, it should remind us that we want to be salt shakers. We are salt, and we shake up the world. We shake up the world by who we are. We'll talk about that in a second. And then also the light of the world. The light of the world, something that we use to see, the idea of taking us out of darkness and having spiritual light. Not just what Jesus has done, but that we are people who are responsible, that God wants to give us also the opportunity to be lights to others, salts to others, shaking up the world, shining, to be light shiners. We season the world. We season the world being salt, and we season it in the sense of taking it out of darkness, a new season, out of spiritual darkness to light. And how do we do that? How do we be salt shakers, shaking up because we're salt? We do that by our glorious deeds, is one of the ways that we do that. Now let's take a look at this for a second this morning as we consider that we are the light and we are the salt, simple things, being the salt. Now what's the big deal? You've heard that many times. We're salt, we're salt. Jesus said, you are the salt of the earth. Does that make a difference to you when you hear that? For light of the world? It isn't just a generic thing. We have a responsibility for the whole world. The whole world, the earth. We are the ones with the gospel. We are the ones who bring salt. Now, why salt? There's lots of different things we could talk about. Why does Jesus use the example of salt? Well, in one way, it may just be saying, look, because he goes on to say, how can salt lose its saltiness? How can it lose its taste? It could be translated taste. He could be saying, look, it can't happen. So don't you lose it. So he could have been using a hyperbole. Or he could have been using what was commonly done even back in Jesus' day, certainly before refrigeration, we had other things being salt. Salt was used as a preservative. So God's people knew that. It was also, if you go back in the Old Testament, salt was also used when there was a covenant. There was also salt that was used to seal that covenant. Salt being something, look, salt was the idea of, again, this covenant, this agreement we have is going to be preserved. It's going to be something that you will be faithful to. So it means salt, that idea of preserving, that idea of being faithful. It also has the idea of fellowship. The fellowship is, as we have things together, we're sealed in a relationship. That means we're together with things. The idea of purity. All these things are coming together, and including using salt for flavor, so something tastes better. However Jesus was using it, the point was that we are to make a difference in people's lives by what we are. Salt. Now you're saying, all right, I'm salt. And notice what Jesus says after that. He says, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be salty again? If it is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. As Christians, it is impossible. If we are a believer, it's impossible for us not to season other people with who we are. It's not like I'm a Christian now, and now I'm going to go stand in the corner, and here's my life. It's impossible. You heard what Jesus said. If salt loses its saltiness, In Jesus' day, the salt that would have come possibly from the Dead Sea or other salt, it was not like today's salt. If you had it, sometimes if it got moist, the NaCl, the salt part of it, could get out of it, and you're left with nothing that's there but yuck. And all it was done, you could take that salt and put it and throw it on the roads that were there to help repair the roads. What good is it if you lose your saltiness? If we are people that are unable to say, Lord, I want to be a salt to others, or I want to be a light to others, to season other people, to season the world, then I need to step back and say, am I sure that I have the Lord? Jesus also went on to say in our text, you are the light of the world. He's going to say the same thing. If you're the light of the world, taking us out of darkness, we are a new season. God brings to season the world, not just with salt that we can change a preservative, and that preservative ultimately is Jesus Christ, right? So you have eternal life. And that light. Do I believe that without Jesus Christ, there is spiritual darkness? And who has God given that opportunity to speak? It's us. God uses the gospel to bring out to the world through us. And then he says, Jesus says, a town built on a hill can't be hidden. You don't build a town and hide it. He's saying, how can you be a Christian and hide it? How can you do that? Even if you're being persecuted, you're blessed. Jesus is saying, if I'm going through this rough time, God, you want me to be merciful to people who aren't merciful to me. You want me to be meek and to give to others, not to be taken advantage of. But Lord, you want me to be meek, and you say that I will inherit the earth, that I will understand all the things about what you want me to. And then you still want me to go out and kind of keep spreading that? You want me to hunger and thirst after righteousness if it gets me into trouble with other people who don't want to hear about that? Yes. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and it gives light to everyone in the house. Okay, so the same thing goes for here. Who would take the light out and put it into the light socket? I'll take this out, put a new one in, and then cover it up. You wouldn't do that. It's the same way for us. It's to be able to say, Lord, I make a difference because you've made a difference in my life. And how do you make that difference? How do you season people? How do you shake them up as salt and saying this is something that you need to preserve? Why? Because I'm coming out of spiritual darkness. I have sins. I need the forgiveness of sins. And the only one way to have the forgiveness of sins is Jesus Christ. That is that light that is going out. How do you do that? Jesus said, in the same way, it's ridiculous. You're going to put a city on a hill, you're going to see the hill. You have a light, you're going to use it. You're not going to cover it up. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. How do you shake it up to be salt shakers and light shiners? By glorious deeds. They bring glory to the Father. They bring glory to Jesus. And so that people will see what we do. By what we do. That's the beginning. Now ultimately, how can you give glory to God if you don't know about Jesus? By what we do opens up the door ultimately for people to say, boy, why do you do the things that you do? And the answer is because I believe in Jesus Christ who has given me my salvation. I have come out of spiritual darkness into spiritual light. The word for good there in the Greek is a word that doesn't mean ethical good, some obeying the commandments. It's not the emphasis there. It's something that is good in the sense that people can see it. It's beneficial. It's something that helps other people. And you heard what Peter said in our epistle. You live such a good life. Even if people say, you Christians, who are you? We don't want to hear about your message. We don't want to hear about salvation. We don't want any part of that. It doesn't matter. You go out and live your life with such good deeds, Peter said, that people will see what you're doing, and they can't bring an accusation against you. Now, what makes this interesting, I think, at least, is that who is Jesus speaking to here? Who's to be the light and the salt? It isn't the religious leaders. Can you imagine if you were one of the Pharisees or the priests that were sitting there? Jesus is saying, who's the salt of the earth? It isn't the religious leaders who were not looking for the promised Messiah. It's not ultimately the pastors, even today, or the teachers. It's each one of us. That's earth-shattering for Jesus to say that. It's you and me together. And what does it mean? To do good deeds so that people will see that, to see that light, to see that salt. It means, here's what it means really. It means if you're a husband, you're just not a regular, ordinary husband doing what the average American or wherever we live, what they do. You're not the average. Does it mean that we're not sinful? No, it doesn't mean that we are sinful. But it means that we're different. That people look at you and say, boy, you do that as a dad? Why? Same thing would go for a mother or a student. Young people at school. People see you. People see you. And you're not to fit in with everybody else. Why don't you cheat? Why don't you gossip? Why don't you make fun of other people? Why don't you talk about the teachers behind their back? Why are you positive even when things are difficult? It doesn't mean that we're going to not have bad days. We're talking generally on average. That people can see, on average, generally for us, that we're different. Why? How many people in the world really want to be meek, merciful? How many want to be pure in heart? How many of them want to be peacemakers? And how many are doing it because they're being led by Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit working in our lives? It's different. We're different as children. We're different. Go to work. Finally, our co-workers should see that we're different. Not people just looking to be good for the sake of being good, but ultimately because we love the Lord. We go out of our way to help people. We go to bed tired at night because we've been helping other people. People see us when we get mad at work, that they see us willing to forgive and willing to say, look, I really botched it here. I apologize. They see us that even though we want to excel at our job, even though we may want to advance, it's not that we're crawling over somebody trying to get ahead of somebody else.